Invite si Darin. Oh, joke.
Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Uncut Exception mini sessions. So for these kind of sessions, we usually share about anything tech related for more or less 10 minutes, and yeah, hopefully learn from each other and stuff. So anyone who wants to share about anything is welcome to do so. So, who would like to go first?
I don't know who wants to go first.
Evan, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think I can go first.
Okay, go
So, what I want to share today is this new library that I just recently discovered. Um, it's called ZomboDB. So I'm not an expert on this library, but I've tried it. So I might not be able to answer all your questions about it, but I've only spent like 2 or 3 hours exploring this library. So what ZomboDB does is it allows your Postgre database to communicate to a Elasticsearch server by having an index within your Postgres database that communicates to Elasticsearch. So basically, that's what it does. So with that, you can make a simple, a normal SQL query on your Postgre database, like a text search, and then if you have an index on the particular column, for example, like a body, that's a big text field, then you want to search for a specific string, and that's inside that particular column. If you have an index as ZomboDB index on that particular column, then it will use Elasticsearch's text search to perform the search, which is like significantly faster than what a typical Postgre text field would often do. So ZomboDB is like an open source application, so you can search it on GitHub. It's ZomboDB, and then they have an sponsors only way of installing it. So they have like a ship binary, but I am not a sponsor, so you could just install from source, and then even that is too complicated. So what I did is I went the shorter route and created a Docker file with that extends Postgres and then installs ZomboDB inside it. So you will have a Docker container with Postgres with ZomboDB installed. So this is like a short Docker file that I got from the internet. So cool. Now I am a Django developer, so of course I'll be using this with Django. So there is also a library called Django ZomboDB, which allows Django to easily create a ZomboDB index and then use that ZomboDB index for text search. So to do that, you just do pip install Django ZomboDB, and then you specify the fields that you want the ZomboDB index to be. So here you have a name, it's a text field, so they created a ZomboDB and index on the name field, and then run make migrations. You'll have your migrations to create the ZomboDB index, and then in your manager, you just um, use the search query set from the Django ZomboDB library to generate your manager. And then in your query, you will have the method query string search that will use Um, Elasticsearch. I think this supports Elasticsearch syntax if you are familiar with that. So we can. I have a small project that does this to compare what we could do with Django Postgres only or and with Django Postgres with ZomboDB in it. So it's just one application. It's called Archive, and then I created a management command that will. Okay, let's look at the models first. So I have two models here. One is the archive with a name, context, text field, and a foreign key to user. And then we have Archive Zumbo, which has the same set of fields, but Archive Zumbo has a ZomboDB index on content. And then of course it has the um, model manager with the search query set provided, so that we can use the query to string. So to test this, there's no view. I just created a custom admin class for both. For the Zumbo archive Zumbo, I needed to override the get search
Get search
result.
result.
So
So
here
here,
we are performing a query string search if the search keyword is provided. So just to use the ZomboDB index. And then to set this all up, I created a Docker Compose file with a DB service. The DB service will run the ZomboDB Docker file that it has Postgre 1.2 with ZomboDB installed in it. And then it has an Elasticsearch service. And then, of course, a web service, which is our Django application running at port 8000. So we can test this out. For the migrations, it's just simple make migrations, so nothing special. But you will see that here in the migration file is trying to create a ZomboDB index on the content field of the archive ZomboDB table. Okay. So first, let's turn this down first. Let's create a couple of sample data. So the data in both tables are exactly the same. The archive and archive Zumbo have exactly the same records. It's taking a while to create 20,000 um, rows. Okay, well, that's running. Oh my god. Wait. What?
oh no.
Okay. I think I lost my existing DB. Definitely. Mm. Yep, I lost it. I need to run again. And then let's create some sample data. By the way, so Django ZomboDB, I think is not actively being maintained anymore. So that sucks. Last commit was October 3, 2019. I think this package does not support Django 3. So you would have to make do with a lower version of Django. In this sample project, I was using 2.2. So if you are feeling like this is something that you would be using or interested with in the future, maybe open a pull request to this, or maybe there is already one. Nope. So maybe open a pull request to support Django 3 on Django ZomboDB. Okay, I have. Uh, okay, let's create another one. While that's running, we could just check out. Uh, okay, so here we have two tables. So we have a Django debug toolbar installed so that we can see the time of the queries, and then we can perform a search like I don't know. Okay. Uh, big search. So one result. We search the same text. Same one result. We have 90 milliseconds 90 milliseconds on the the table with the ZomboDB index, and then we have 203 milliseconds on the table without the ZomboDB index. So we will try to add more to see how the performance like degrades as the table size increases. Uh-huh. Well, 20,000 more. So right now we have 40,000 rows in both tables. Now we have 60,000 rows in both tables. And then we performed a search in the table with ZomboDB index. It's now 61 milliseconds. And then on the one without the ZomboDB index, it's 281, which is about, I don't know, 60 milliseconds longer than the one before. So we try to add more. More records. Okay, so now we have 80,000. We will perform the same search, and then still 61, and then 256. 223, and 226, 61, 71, 57. We will try another search keyword. See, maybe we are populating a lot of the cache for the result to be significant. So the one with the ZomboDB index, we have 50 milliseconds, and the one without the ZomboDB index, we have 241. So we could add some more. It takes a while, but generally the query time on the table without the ZomboDB index just increases as the size of the table increases, whereas the one with the ZomboDB index, since we are performing search with Elasticsearch, I guess it would still increase, but only by a little bit because Elasticsearch is like really, really fast when it comes to text search. So see here, it's hovering between 61, 62, 170, and then here we've reached again 300 milliseconds. So the consistency on the speed on the ZomboDB index is like really amazing, and then it's really fast, several times faster than the one without it. So if there is a Python library for Elasticsearch that you could use to plug in your Python project, in your Django project. But I think if you are just doing it for this particular purpose only, say for example, what if you have a database of, I don't know, research papers or something that needs a good text search, but that's the only thing that you need. I think like since I think ZomboDB is like a good library that you could use because it's relatively simple to set up. Um, I guess it's a bit harder if you don't do it with Docker, but you just have this particular Docker file, then you already have a Postgre server with ZomboDB installed, and then you have another in your Docker Compose file. You create Elasticsearch service so that the two can just communicate, and then install Python Django ZomboDB in your what do you call this? Install Django ZomboDB in your Django project. Set it up in your settings file. It requires this particular URL, ZomboDB Elasticsearch URL. So this is where we place the index, and then on your model, you create specify a ZomboDB index on the field that you want the text search to be, and then if you want to perform the text search, you just use query string search method, and then you will have already a Django application with a good enough string search. Of course, it this works by creating an index on your Postgre table. Of course, that always has a downside. Index are meant to be used to improve like the speed at which you find the rows that you want and fetch them, but it will also increase the amount of time that you will add data to your tables. And then I think here in particular, it's going to be a bit more significant as compared to a default index in your which lives within the Postgre server itself, because ZomboDB uses a REST API, Elasticsearch's REST API to communicate to the Elasticsearch server. So again, there's a lot of overhead there, like networking overhead. And then that is it. But really, if you have like I said, just a simple Django application with just a big table that you are. It's not heavy on writes, but very very heavy on reads. Then ZomboDB with Django ZomboDB, I think is a good solution that you could consider. So I think that is it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Aman, about ZomboDB. Anyone has questions? I do have a question. So just to be clear, ZomboDB is sort of like on the database level integration, is it?
Yes, it is on database level integration.
So you can really use it even if you're not using Django.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can write custom SQL queries that uses the HTTP index, and then I think they even have like their own specific syntax. Um, because like I think the Elasticsearch has their own specific syntax. Like for example, you want to boost this particular word or boost result on this particular field. So I think you can do that with ZomboDB.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, we have a question about ZomboDB.
Opo, gamitan.
Yeah, same. So does it have so Emmanuel already shared about Django. Does it have like other integrations for like other languages or frameworks also?
I am not sure because I haven't really done much research on that. So no, not sure. But since it is like native on the database, like you create an index and then you do whatever you want with the index, I would assume that uh, there it supports uh, other frameworks if someone took the time to create the library to make everything smooth.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you. Um, if there are no more questions about ZomboDB, thank you, Elman. Uh, so, who would like to share next? Is it gonna be Faye or me?
You, I'm just an audience.
Okay, then I guess I.
Wait. I can see 7 forks from the ZomboDB repo. I don't know where. I'm not sure if which one of these are currently active on maintenance on this one. Anyways.
ZomboDB itself is actively maintained, but Django ZomboDB is not actively maintained.
Okay.
So which sucks, but oh well.
Yeah. Sige, it's your turn, Kuya Arnelle.
Okay, then I guess it's my turn. So, what I would like to share about is about Caddy or Caddy server as it's called. So it's so uh, you've probably like used or maybe heard of Nginx before, right? So Nginx like it's a web reverse proxy and server whatever. So it receives like requests, it maps it to like different services running on the machine and stuff like that. So with Nginx, so from my experience with Nginx, I've used it with like digital ocean droplets and other servers. And I like to handle incoming requests to some of like my sites running on the server. and also to support like HTTPS with like SSL, and so you have to configure all of those. Like you have to like manage all of those different configurations, like the Nginx configs themselves for all your sites. And then if you're using HTTPS, you might be using most likely be using like certbot to like manage your SSL certificates and automatically renew them. So there's a lot of configuration. So Caddy, okay, let me share my screen. Okay, let's sharing in three. Okay. So Caddy is sort of like does similar things to it does the same things that Nginx does, but but it makes it easy to get started with it because its config is like more simple, at least for me, and it comes built in with with SSL or HTTPS support. So let's take a look at um, how easy it is. So in the documentation, so you can install it on your like on your servers. If you're using like an Ubuntu server, you can sudo apt install Caddy from like the repositories. There's also a Docker image if you want to use that, and so different ways to install it. Um, but the nice thing really is configuring. I mean, how easy it is to get started with it, and how easy it is to configure Caddy. So let me just share another window. So here I'm currently using it for one of my servers. Well, that's running some of my side projects. So I can just connect to it. Um, so I'm just going to quickly show you the Caddy config file, which is this one. So the Caddy config file, this config file contains configuration for 3 different application servers already. So snippets API and snippets and endpoints. And then the configuration is just like this. So here I'm currently, whenever there are incoming requests to endpoints that would be up, for example, it just forwards it to localhost 80 and then everything works. So this is how easy it is. Once you run Caddy like this already, it will automatically generate the certificates already. So let's just try to see it running. Actually, I have it run. I actually already have it running, so let me just stop it. So Caddy run, sudo Caddy run. Oh, I don't remember the password. Let me just get the password quickly. I can find it. Okay, here. Oh no, my password is not working. It's supposed to be this. Okay, here. So as you can see, um, so it's now listening on. It's now able to pick up the config file, and then okay, let's just try to read the logs. So it's automatically listening on port 443, which is like the default port for HTTPS, and it's automatically managing like the SSL certificates for these domains. And just like that, our servers are running. I mean, yeah, it's now available. I hope. I'm going to try to visit one. Yeah, it worked. So just like that. So let me just stop it. You can also run it as a daemon or as like a background service by using Caddy start. Sudo Caddy start. because it listens on port 443. So here it's running on the background. I can disconnect from the server now, and that's how easy it is to use Caddy. So switching from Nginx configs, at least in my experience, I don't. So my Nginx configs are not very sophisticated. So it was kind of easy for me. It's just a matter of um, identifying which ports you want to proxy pass to, or in like or in Caddy terms, it's like the reverse proxy. Um, and then I don't have to do any like SSR certificate config anymore because Caddy already takes care of that. So I don't even have search bot on the server. Yeah. So and let's just take a look at the config file again. It's as simple as this. Mm, so other Caddy features. Let me just share my browser window again. Caddy. So other Caddy features, so you can everything in Caddy. So again, same with Nginx, you can configure like how your reverse proxy works. So there are a lot of different like configs available. Let's look at like the Caddy file documentation. So it's very. So what I really like about this like the config file. It's so simple, so straightforward. Um, Directives. So these are all like the things that you can do with it. So you can do things like um, I don't know. So your matchers. So all the directives that you can use. Even supports like what's it? I think it's called transparent. If I can find it. So another thing is one app that we built with Emmanuel actually. So the endpoints app, it's using WebSockets to like do like real time reporting of the logs. And with Nginx, there were like maybe at least 6 lines of config to make it work, the WebSocket connections. But with Caddy, it was just like one word, transparent, I think, or WebSocket. Then that it just works. So it's so easy. But if you want to like use your existing Nginx configs, um, Caddy has support for what's it called, adapters. So what this does is it can make if you can run Caddy by using an Nginx config file. If you use an Nginx um, adapter, but those are not provided by Caddy anymore. Those are like third-party like plugins, depending on what format of the config file you want to use. But just so you know, that's available in case your Nginx config files are like complicated. But yeah, that's Caddy. So it has an API also like to so that you can update your config manually instead. If I compare it to how I've used Nginx before, so I edit a config file, then restart the Nginx server. With Caddy, you can dynamically edit your config file using its API. If I can find it here, I think it should be this one. Although I haven't used it, I just used like the Caddy file, and you can do if you edit the config file, you can do like Caddy reload or something like that to like update it, or you can use the API if you want. But yes, that's Caddy, and that's the end of what I'm going to share. You have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So can they also serve like directories?
It should be here, static files. So you can do something like this, for example, and then just like a file server directive. So something like that. Although I've never used it that way because static files are just served up through like Netlify or something. But with Caddy, it should be possible like this.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so actually now I've started switching. Um, my servers to use Caddy, so I don't think I have anything using Nginx anymore. But I don't manage a lot of servers, so that's I have an excuse. But yeah, it's the main thing for me is really just how easy it is to add HTTP support because these days it's pretty important. So I don't have to deal with certbot anymore.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? So you can just check like more local, I mean read learn more about Caddy caddyserver.com or just Google like Caddy and learn
Okay.
more about it. Oh,
I think
I think
that's
it's
all
just
my
us
questions.
left. Okay, thank you, Eman. It's so weird
Thanks.
because Eman is just there. So you might be wondering, like, if you're watching the stream, you might be wondering why are we just not talking in real life. But yeah, I hope so. If you don't have any more questions, Eman, right?
Yep, no more questions.
Okay, so if that's all. I guess that's all for today. Again, so this is Uncaught Exception mini sessions. We're going to try to do it every week at Saturday, 9 p.m. And it's going to be live. So stay tuned for the next episodes. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
And peace. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye,
Maybe next
Kiba.
week Fakens actually start like
Yeah.
Oh, mag-asibol ko next week.
yeah,
Kato na lang sa
go.